and then was at No Fear. Did a lot of stuff there, actually put together a manufacturer deal and started making some serious money. I mean, I went from making like 50 grand a year to $45,000 a month.
Have you heard how Jason's doing? Like, is he doing good? Yeah, there you go. That's so sick. I got flamed online for reading a DM from J Law saying that he was coming back to. I knew it was going. That's where I knew it was going. Gas, Armor Energy. You were putting together a deal. How close was that from happening? What was what actually happened there? Because I never chased it up.
I met a gypsy.
It's so true what you said about we're such a young, cool, influential sport that a lot of brands, they would struggle to connect to this audience in those other sports like NASCAR. I mean, even, like I think MotoGP is like probably at its coolest right now. Obviously, you had like the Valentino and the Casey era, but I wouldn't say like that's like crazy sport and crazy action and drama, but I wouldn't say there's like cool personalities in it, But Moto, for whatever reason, me and my brother talk about all the time, he's a sports, like he has his own Alpine group, and it's essentially like a Crown AMG, but we talk about it all the time that it's like there's something about motocross, like, and I think it's we're dirty, like we're not scared to get dirty. We you can't wear white shoes when you walk the track. Like there's a element of real danger and like just gritty gnarliness to it that a lot of the other sports like kind of can't replicate, and I think that does really lend itself to the way that you can kind of market within the sport. I don't know if any of that resonates with you.
Resonates 100%. I mean, even watching Colorado this weekend. I mean, was it the first moto? Yeah, the first moto with the domino effect of everybody. I don't know if you watched the race, but I mean,
yeah.
I mean, like, I don't know, out of the 40 guys, 15 of them were maybe on the ground, and you're just like, wow, you want to talk about, like, people don't understand even when talking about motocross, there's a study that, USC did many years ago, which is my daughter graduated USC a few years ago, summa cum laude. Shout out to Anna. Love you.
Yeah.
She's a great kid. But they did a study on athletes, and, they said motocross was number one. Motocross and soccer were the number 1, 2 physically most demanding sports. And, I say to people, I go, yeah, but the difference even with soccer is like when you get fatigued and maybe you lose the strength in your leg and you miss that goal because you were tired. Well, moto, you come up short and you end up with, I have a plate and 10 screws in my right ankle because I came up short on a triple at Steel City. It's like the consequences of error and fatigue are far greater than, any other sport. MotoGP is, the consequence of error can be hugely catastrophic there as well. But, moto, just the slamming, banging, cleaning guys out and, fatigue and dirt and grit. And going into the first corner, I don't care what level of racing you're doing. I don't care if it's the beginner class or the vet class. Going into a corner with 40 dudes, the first corner, there's nothing like it that anyone can ever relate to. There's no other sport that I could say is a correlation or emulates that feeling. Name one that's similar. Now, riding a bull's gnarly, but dude, going into the first corner with 39 dudes, and then the greatest feeling, and I'll never forget, this was at the RM Cup in Troy, Ohio, and I led the 125 intermediate class there, even though I was older and I was at Spy. This was it was Millsaps, Kyle Partridge, and Josh Lichtel, and I was leading the intermediate for laps, and then my bike got stuck in second gear. I bent the shifter, and I couldn't get out of second. But getting the whole shot with 39 dudes behind you and going down the long straightaway, there's a long straightaway at Troy, Ohio. There's no better feeling knowing there's 39 dudes behind you, and you're out front, and there's nothing that can give you that feeling, and that I've ever done. So maybe flying a fighter jet. I have a friend of mine that became a captain in the Navy and a fighter jet pilot, and we grew up racing dirt bikes, and he said that definitely has the
Pretty
same
cool
feeling.
too. Yeah.
So anyway, but yeah, I think that it's pretty special, motocross, supercross, and that's, that passion is what, in selling it for myself, selling that sport, it always helps when you're passionate and you truly are authentic, really helps come across, and I believe helped me get it across the line many times with selling something in this sport, and or then even with what we did with Monster, always having that passion about, even internally, me pitching, even at the time, I remember Rodney Sachs, who's the CEO of Monster, very smart people, and it took me a bit to get them to title sponsor Supercross over the finish line, but it was what I believed was going to help create more sales around those events that, I then presented to them, that it wasn't just about sponsoring something, because as a salesperson, I always try to apply the thought process of, okay, if I do this, is it going to help me sell more product? And most, it's hard to marketing typically. In this day and age, it's a lot different, because you can actually, especially in the digital world, you can get analytics, and you can get, your ROI, your return on investment. You can actually, quantify, okay, we spent this and we sold that. Well, in a lot of marketing in the past days, you don't really know, like, okay, because we did that, did it really help us sell more? But, fortunately, everything that we did do there before all of these things were measurable, it all did equate to successes, and continued to ultimately get, approvals on doing a lot of different things that, were uphill sales and not battles, but, you had to really have a good pitch and a reason why you think it's going to generate more sales. And, but ultimately, I think it was that passion and believing what, not only just, Supercross, motocross, X Games, action sports, it was a big, I would say a lot of it had to do with timing of the times. Another great documentary to watch is American Gladiator. I don't know if you remember that show, but I just watched that documentary.
Yeah.
Well, it was interesting watching that, because when you watch part 2 of American Gladiator, they tried to bring it back in 2008, and times had changed, and I don't know if you
was different. Yeah,
I don't know if you remember what American Gladiator was, but it was these regular people.
I remember when I was a kid.
Enter,
yeah.
And then they would go and they would battle these these dudes, athletes, girls and guys, but
they had super jacked chicks too. That's what I remember.
Super crazy things that they had to do, fight these guys with these big punji sticks or whatever they call it, and roll these steel balls. Well, when they tried to bring it back in 2008, which that originated with iron workers in Erie, Pennsylvania, that they used to have picnics and they would do these crazy tug of wars and battles. But when they try to revive it, 2008, they literally show in the documentary how times had changed and it didn't connect, because people were on to X Games and snowboarding and surfing and motocross, and so it's really interesting, and I would suggest that it was on HBO, I believe is where I watched it, American Gladiator. But as a brand person, it's interesting to watch these types of things and understand, the time.
100%.
Timing has a lot to do with successes, and I actually just had this conversation recently about even the success with Monster, and I do believe that timing played a key role in all of that, because X Games, think about the beginning of X Games, when they were riding snow shovels down a mountain, and they were riding street luge, biker Sherlock, and things that really didn't really well, what is this? This is kind of like a weird mix of sport, but it's not a real sport, or I don't want to say, but it just was
like a mix between a circus and a sport.
Exactly. And where it really started to connect is when they really started having real sports that people do: skateboarding, snowboarding, motocross, freestyle motocross, which was just blowing up at the time. And so the timing of all of it, I think, did play a huge part of aligning at the right time. It wasn't like a plan. It just was.
Yeah.
Everything lined up properly. So
we're excited to announce the launch of our new membership site, gypsytales.com, packed with exclusive content and perks that you won't find anywhere else. This is your chance to become a part of the Gypsy Gang. And as a special bonus, if you sign up to an annual membership, you'll be entered into the draw to win our custom-built TC125. Gypsy Gang.